Hello everyone, welcome to the Buendia Stadium. It's always cold, it's always windy here, and I think it's just because of that gap. I think it just comes straight into the ground and you get freezing. But here's the rest of it. It's quite a cracking place actually to come and watch football, it always has been. It's always been a bit hit and miss. I think I've got Dan Holker shouting at me. But there we go. Crumbs, that was quite a night, wasn't it? And I'm sure you've been following it at home. Norwich have won 3-2. They sort of basically won the game 3-0 and then lost 2-0 in a way. That's kind of what it feels like. Really surreal feeling after a game like that. But essentially Norwich were excellent, especially in the first half. They scored 2 wonderful goals and created some really good chances. They dominated possession. Stoke were happy. They did a good job of sort of being in the right position when Norwich was slow. But as soon as Norwich broke the lines or just produced a little bit of quality and vision, they just cut through them. And Stoke have actually conceded a lot more goals than I expected to. I kind of noticed that before we came up here. I was expecting a sort of a Michael O'Neill side to be a lot tighter, and I think he's expecting them to be a bit tighter too. And I think they have got 1 or 2 goalkeeping issues, really, because as good as certainly the second goal was from Teemu Pukki, it was a wonderful take. And he took it very early, probably earlier than Bet365 expected, but by the same token, he didn't really get his feet sorted and ended up sort of diving through the shot, really, or after it in a way. It was a wonderful goal, set away by a brilliant assist from Buendia, hit first time. And by that point, Buendia had already scored. Again, a wonderful goal made by Josh Martin, essentially getting out of a press, and then onto Pukki and Steeperman, and Pukki and Martin were both hacked down, basically, in that build-up. But it was a lovely, sweet move, and then Steeperman fed it to Emmy, who slotted inside the far post with a lovely, cute finish, very similar finish to what he produced at Bristol City, just in probably a lot more simple circumstances for him. 2 real moments of quality, wonderful goals, and you're looking at that thinking, this is brilliant. And Josh Martin actually fed Teemu Pukki for the 3rd goal, which happened early in the second half. Teemu taking it round the goalkeeper. Initially I thought it was offside, but looking at replays, it looks like it was just level, so happy days. And that was a really important goal, because that was obviously what won the game for Norwich. But that goal took place in a kind of a haze that enveloped Norwich from the moment late in the first half, where Tim Krul went down rubbing his left thigh. We do now, Daniel Farker certainly suggested that it was a muscle injury rather than anything to do with his knee, which is good, obviously good news, relatively speaking. But if it's a thigh tear, then I remember John Reddy did that. Quite a similar reaction, I suppose, in that sort of limping and feeling like it was quite jarring. I don't know. I'm guessing that he did it when he was kicking a ball clear. Obviously it's very cold tonight and Tim's done a lot of work, but to see Tim Krul hobbling off was a horrible sight, because, to be frank, he's a hugely important player in this side, and Norwich then sort of drifted through the rest of the game, really. They obviously got the 3rd goal, but in general they did lose their way. Michael McGovern obviously came in, he did okay, but and I think it's hard probably to judge fairly on tonight in terms of what he produced, because they were quite extenuating circumstances, him coming in. He spent all half time warming up rather than being in the dressing room, and there was a lot going on, and a lot of here come the lawnmowers, and a lot of nervousness it felt through the defensive line from a change they weren't expecting. I don't think footballers really like change, certainly in quick elements they're not expecting during a game. So that creates a highly pressurised and intense situation. So some of that probably evidenced itself in how the performance went for the rest of it, because Norwich conceded 2 goals. They could have conceded a 3rd. McGovern was sort of eased out of the way of a high ball by Lee Gregory. It probably was a foul. It was a little bit soft. Michael O'Neill wasn't too happy with it, but you probably want your goalkeeper to be a bit stronger, and we're probably going to get into this idea now over the coming weeks. If Tim Krul is out for, it's going to be 2 weeks if it's a muscle strain of any sort, but it could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. which will be a lot of games, obviously. So we'll just have to see what it ends up being. But just being, sort of edged out of it, you will end up having players around him going, right, we need to maybe protect Michael a bit. We're not sure about how strong he's going to be in certain situations, and it all funnels into a difficult situation for him tonight. But the good thing is, when the games come from now on, it's going to be less of a surprise. Michael McGovern is in goal, deal with it. And so at that point, I'll be hoping to see something a bit more coherent and together from everyone, because if we don't, then it will obviously cause Norwich issues going forward. They have huge injury issues as it is. Teemu Pukki is complaining a little bit about his hamstring. I mean, that would be a disaster really at the moment if they lost him, because they haven't got another striker at the moment. And you just would not want to leave Teemu out or to see him not playing, because he's so important. He's scoring really important goals and he's winning games for them. And someone they definitely will now miss at home to Coventry on Saturday is Buendia, because having scored a lovely goal, having made another one brilliantly, he then got himself sent off. Now, it's interesting actually just watching the social media reaction to this, because a lot of people I think a lot of people like, Emmy's a genius, I don't care if he's like this, look at what he's doing on the pitch. And, I get that. I thought he was sensational for so much of today. Just an absolute joy, and just the confidence and maturity, I was going to actually say, and use that word, maturity, he was playing with. You were like, yes, Emmy, this is exactly the one. I think he's really unlucky with the first booking, if I'm honest. He didn't really leave his leg in. He just sort of ran and closed the ball, and I can't remember which player it was. It might have been Bath, but he sort of kicked his legs. How Emmy gets a booking for that, I don't know. I thought it was really harsh. The second one's difficult because he's put his leg really high, which he does a lot, and because he's very competitive. Now, Daniel Farke sort of said it was probably, having been booked, he needed to not do it. And I understand that. I think that's with a little bit of hindsight, because are you really going to see Emmy not do that? It's not like he's gone through someone or anything, it's just a bit unaware. And I mean, Nick Powell is not stupid. And this Stoke side still has a lot of elements of all the great Stoke sides that knew exactly how to rub everyone up the wrong way. So I don't even know how much contact there was, but it certainly didn't take him off the pitch, for example. So I think Emmy's a little bit unfortunate. If it was Formula One, it'd be a racing incident, because I don't know what else he really could have done in either situation. And Jeff Eltringham is a little bit of an unpredictable referee at the best of times, so I think it all factored into that. And there we go. He'll miss the Coventry game, but it is only a one-game ban. I'm pretty sure they are going to miss Tim Krul for a lot longer. We will see how much longer, of course. But remarkably, Norwich have won here. I think that's absolutely crucial that Norwich hung on, and they did really have to hang on by the end. Obviously, it wasn't ideal circumstances, and normally you'd be like, well, come on, you should be winning, seeing this game out 3-0 and everything's rosy. But I think you take the fact they hung on today, bank it, take the 3 points away. I think Norwich have now got a very difficult situation because they've got lots of injuries. And it's kind of patching it up and see how it goes. Alex Tettey played in the middle today. Lucas Rook was on the bench. They ended up with Seamus Farke playing up front and basically looking a little bit lost. Josh Martin was superb on his full league debut, by the way. Been looking forward to seeing him play for so long. I did a big interview with him at the Athletic, for the Athletic, just at the end of last season, start of this. Definitely read it. I think he's a really talented young man. I know he's really highly thought of at the club. I know everyone's delighted with what he's done today, and I think there's a lot more to come from him. Really promising signs today. Got an assist and made the first goal too. So plenty to be positive about, but of course we know what the big issues are, and we'll see where we all go with them. I'm going to sign off because the lawnmowers are starting. Hope you're all well. Stay safe. I will see you on Saturday at Carrow Road. Norwich City remain top of the league. Stoke have been put to the sword. Good night.